Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. My name is Juanita Williams. I am a purpose conduit. I am the link to life beyond pain and the channel to discovering purpose. And this is today's Tuesday Truths. Alrighty, I thought that we were done with love, but of course, you can have many episodes on love. So today, we're going to be talking about love again, and the topic is adjust your posture. So, I'm just going to get right into it. Thank you for all of those who watch. Thank you for those who support. I greatly appreciate it. And I hope that something is being said that will help you to learn and grow and be able to teach someone else. So all glory and all credit goes to God because it is He who is given me all of this, not me. Nothing comes from me, it all comes from God. So again, this is today's Tuesday Truth, and we're going to be talking about adjusting your posture. So I was watching service online yesterday, and the pastor was led to minister to and pray for the men. And what dropped in my spirit when the pastor was talking about praying for the men was the heavy weight that our men carry. The weight of just being a man, that's a heavy weight. The weight of the world, the weight of society and leadership, and so much more. So when the pastor called the men to the altar to pray for them, I felt an overwhelming urge to pray for the men. And that's how Love Part 3 was born. And the pastor also kept saying the word adjust your posture, adjust your posture. So I was like, oh, this is what we're going to be talking about for Tuesday Truth. We're talking about love, but it's adjusting your posture. So if you didn't know, Satan wants to kill our men. He wants to kill us too, but he is really going after the men. And he is on his job and succeeding in various ways. That is why it is so important to cover the men in our lives. Satan has a plan to destroy the family, and the best way for him to do that is to destroy the covering, which is the men. So let's take some inventory. Take inventory of all the men that are in prison, either physically or mentally. And how many times have lives been taken prematurely? We can also look at how many of our men have died due to other circumstances like stress, heart attacks, strokes, cancer, whatever. We can take inventory and look at that as well. And guess what? When the men are no longer in the home, women are left without a covering. When there is no covering, the family becomes vulnerable. And when the family becomes vulnerable, society becomes vulnerable and then begins to break down. Men are the strong foundations. And when the foundation is weakened, everything else becomes unstable. Just think about that. Everything else becomes unstable. So God made Adam first, and then he made Eve. And he had a reason for doing that. So I'm going to read Genesis, the second chapter, and the 21st through the 25th verses. And I always read from the New Living Translation. And if I don't, I will let you know which translation that I'm reading from. So Genesis 2, chapter 2, verses 21 through 25 says this. So the Lord God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. While the man slept, the Lord God took out one of the man's ribs and closed up the opening. Then the Lord God made a woman from the rib, and he brought her to the man. At last, the man exclaimed, "This one is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken from man." This explains why man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united as one. Now the man and his wife were both naked, but they felt no shame. And that was Genesis, the second chapter, the 21st through the 25th verses. Now let's talk about being uncovered, because remember, the man is the foundation. He's the foundation of the family. When there's no man, and that that man is not part of that family, or has been taken away from that family, then the family is unstable. The family is also uncovered. So if you didn't know, let me enlighten you today. Men they are our coverings. And I'm not talking about just any man, because just any man can't be the covering of your household. I'm talking about the man that God created for us. There are many times we choose who we think we should be with without consulting God first. And then there are times that we do consult God. But, sometimes we think God's taking too long, and then we get ahead of him, and then we end up marrying somebody that we're not supposed to be with. And I will say this too, just because dude is cute don't mean that you need to marry him, or it doesn't mean that you need to have sex with him. But that's a whole other topic. So we're just going to leave that where it is for right now. However, even if we don't wait on God and we decide to go ahead of him and choose our own man and go ahead and marry him, God does honor marriage. And that man is still the covering. He's still your covering. And I know in some cases we were taught to be, as women, to be strong, to be independent, not to depend on a man, get stuff on our own, and always have our own. We are taught that some of us are taught that growing up. We're also taught about the word submission. And we're taught that, especially in marriage, it has a negative connotation to it. And then, some of us, we aren't taught that by our mothers, but, we may be taught that at the church that we're attending, or Bible study, or whatever. And we're taught that it has a negative connotation. It's not really, I'll just say for me, it really wasn't explained the way that it was supposed to be explained as I was growing up. But sisters, can I just say this? Submission does not mean lord over or control. And brothers, if you listening to this, it doesn't mean that you put your foot on your woman's neck and you control her. That is not what submission means. And I know to some of us women, submission sounds like a curse word, but it's not. It just means that we allow our covering to lead us, and then we walk beside them. We are their helpers. And that's what the word tells us. In Genesis 20:20, it says, he, meaning Adam, gave names to all the livestock, all the birds of the sky, all the wild animals, but there was still no helper just right for him. Focus on the word helper. Excuse me, not slave. So guess what God did? He created a helper for Adam, a woman. God also said that it is not good for man to be alone. And you can find that in Genesis 2 and 18. And it says, then the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make him a helper who is just right for him. Remember those two words, just right. This is why we don't need to be out there choosing our own mates. We don't need to do that, sisters. We really don't need to do that. God has someone just right for us. So let him do the choosing. As a matter of fact, he's already chose somebody who is just right for us. We will compliment them and they will compliment us. We just have to be patient and wait on him, because he's preparing you for your husband and he's preparing him for you. But again, that's a whole nother topic that we can talk about on a different day. Also, let me add this. Lead also does not mean control, and it also does not mean less than. Lead just means lead. So with that being said, sisters, can we stop emasculating our men? Emasculation means to deprive a man of his male role or identity. It also means to make someone or something weaker or less effective. I'm going to read that to you again. Emasculate means to deprive a man of his role or of his male role or identity. And it also means to make someone or something weaker or less effective. And I know, for some of us, we saw some of this growing up. Unfortunately, I should say, we saw this growing up. So we do what we saw. And for others, it's that I'm not allowing nobody to control me. Or that independent thing that says, I don't need a man. I don't need a man. Whatever the reason is, let's stop doing it. Let's stop doing it. Some of our men, they had no example of how to be a man because there was no male in the household or no male role model to teach them how to be men. So therefore, they don't know how to be husbands and they don't know how to be fathers because they didn't have that example modeled before them. You know, some of them had no fathers in the house. Some of them had fathers in the house, but it still wasn't modeled before them. Again, I keep saying this, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day as well. So I will keep going, and let me give this note. As much as we think we can, mothers, we cannot teach our sons how to be men because we are not men. I know. Some of y'all might disagree with that, but think about it. How can we teach them how to be men when we're not men? What we can teach them is we can teach them about morality, and we can teach them good values and give them a wonderful foundation so they can be good moral citizens on this earth. But there is no way that we can teach them to be men because we don't have the capability to teach them how to be a man. Just think about it. We don't have the capability. You might agree You might disagree, but you know, it's the truth. We're not men. We don't know how men operate. We don't think like men. We don't act like men. We don't walk like men. We don't talk like men. We can't teach our sons how to be men. That's why we should not discount the dads. You chose to lay with that dude, and I'm not talking about in extenuating circumstances where some other stuff happened and you ended up, having a baby. Um, but you chose to lay with that dude. So, and then you had a baby. I mean, he might not have been the right guy for you, but you chose to lay with him, and now you got a baby with him, and the baby just happened to be a boy, and now he ain't in the picture nowhere. So then we have our fatherless boys because the men aren't in the picture anywhere. Either they choose not to be in the picture, or either you chose for them not to be in the picture. Either way, don't discount them because boys need their fathers. Again, that's a whole nother topic about not laying with everybody, waiting until you're married. But we ain't gonna go into that. That's a whole nother topic. I mean, if you wait, then you won't have the problem of, having babies by the person that's you're not supposed to have babies by. And that's all I'm going to say about that. And I'm going to move on. Our men have heavyweights. They have so much heavy weight on them. As I was watching yesterday, I was watching online, and as I watched the men come up to the altar, like I said, I just felt compelled to pray for them. And I just felt like heavy weight. And that's the word that was dropped in my spirit. It was like heavy weight. And I'm just like, wow. Of course, we have a weight on us as women as well. But today we're talking about our brothers. So, sisters, I'm asking, don't add any more weight to what those men are already carrying. And if I can remind you, and this is just some of the stuff that they're carrying, the weight of just being a man, the weight of the world, the weight of society and leadership. And then, for our brown brothers, the weight of being a brown brother. They don't need no more weight added to them. They don't need that extra weight. And then they also have the weight of us not allowing them to lead and be the man of the house that they're supposed to be the covering. So, sisters, we got to step back and allow that man to lead. Proverbs 27:15-16 says, a quarrelsome wife is annoying as constant dripping on a rainy day. Let me read that again because I left out a word. A quarrelsome wife is as annoying as constant dripping on a rainy day. Or a dripping faucet, says that in another translation. You know how annoying a dripping faucet is. So stopping her complaints is like trying to stop the wind. Who can stop the wind but God? Or trying to hold something with greasy hands or greased hands. Have you ever tried to do that? It ain't gonna happen. And then we have these cliches. Happy wife, happy life. And I'm not sure if this next one is correct, but if mama is happy, the whole house is happy. I've heard that, but I'm not sure if that's exactly the way it's said. And these cliches are just what they are, cliches. And you might disagree with this, but nobody can make you happy but you. It's not your husband's responsibility to make you happy. And the reason why is, excuse me, he's not in control of your emotions. You are. But I'm gonna just keep reading what I have on this paper. If you're waiting on someone else to make you happy, you're going to be waiting forever, because happiness is circumstantial and is tied to your emotions. And like I said, you are in charge of your emotions, not your husband, not your children, not your friends, not anybody else, but you. So those cliches are just cliches. And happiness is circumstantial. So it depends on the circumstance. I'd rather for you to be joyful. But that's a whole nother topic as well. So let me keep going, lest I keep you too long. As wives, we should make the home a peaceful place and a respite for our men. They already deal with a bunch of mess elsewhere. So they shouldn't have to deal with mess in their household. I'm not saying don't discuss whatever you need to discuss. But of course, you should be prayerful. Both of you should be prayerful before you discuss anything. If there's something that's bothering you or something that's bothering him or whatever, pray about it. Take it to the Lord and then allow him to be the center, of course, of the discussion. Say what you got to say, but, don't say it in a way that will cause him to feel less than. And brothers, that's for the women too. Don't say it in a way that causes her to feel less than. You have to definitely learn how to um, discuss and to say what's in our hearts and on our minds in a way that it's not degrading the other person. I know I've said this 15,000 times today, but that's another topic for another day as well. So let me go ahead and get this finished. Again, the guy, he should not have to deal with crap. And I did say the word crap. He shouldn't have to deal with mess in his household. And the way we can make our households peaceful is to pray. Pray. We carry heavy weights as well. I said that, a little earlier. We as women, we carry heavy weights as well. But today, I am asking you to pray and to pray for all of the men in your life, including your husbands, your fathers, your brothers, your uncles, your nephews, your cousins, and your sons. Pray for them. Society weighs them down enough. So pray for them. That's the least that you can do. Pray for them. So, as sisters, as wives, what we need to do is adjust our posture and pray. Make that household peaceful. Because making the household peaceful is not only just for the man, it's for you as well. Because like I said, we have heavyweights as well. So we have to pray. Because we want at least our household. We deal with a whole lot of stuff out in the world. We deal with a whole lot of mess out in the world. So at least our household can be stable and peaceful. So we must pray. And prayer is another way we as women can show real love. Thank you for listening to today's Tuesday Truth. My name is Juanita Williams. I am a purpose conduit. I am the link to Life Beyond Pain and the channel to Discovering Purpose. Have a fantabulous day and an awesome-tastic week. And again, thank you for listening and thank you for supporting. I will see you next week, God willing. Bye-bye now.